had too many victims, too many shootings.
Right now we are experiencing violence in our city and our children are lost.
Too many killings, too many people in the city crying for the lives of individuals in our city.
We're just as angry and frustrated and ticked off about it as anyone else watching is.
I'm different than I was before
Can you use some 18 and a tourniquet?
this epidemic.
We tired of fighting and losing our sons and daughters to senseless killing. When you gonna just stop killing our children?
It's gonna light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine. It's the light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine.
In most places in America, murders are becoming more rare, but not in Baltimore. By all accounts, this is a city in crisis, a city with more than 335 murders in 2017. Throughout the year, we've been tracking the crisis, but what happens after the shock? Tonight, we're looking at people deeply affected by violence and how their lives have changed in 2017. We begin in the heat of the summer at Shock Trauma.
Okay, so you want us to come to Shock Trauma.
Pressure's 140 over 100.
What's your ETA at Shock Trauma?
In a city in crisis,
We gotta work on IVXs.
this is the nerve center.
You see 6, 7, 8, 9 gunshot victims a night, and it's just normal for us.
To see that level of violence all the time, is it heartbreaking? Yeah. But here, do I have time for that? No. You just detach and you have to do the job.
We're on scene with a priority 2, category D, as in Delta.
On this day, 22 people with life-threatening injuries were admitted to the specialized unit. 7 of them victims of violence. This considered a quiet night for the nurses of Shock Trauma. Gunshot wound, not the first or the last of the day.
They're close.
Within 3 minutes, more than 24 nurses carefully choreograph equipment, clearing way for Baltimore's newest victim of violence.
All right, I guess everyone's ready, right? Are you drawing labs, Frank? You want me to flush it through?
Can you use some 18 and a tourniquet?
Many national legislators said we have to do something to help Chicago.
For 20 years, Dr. Thomas Scalia has been running one of the busiest trauma centers in the nation.
I'm not saying that it's not a terrible problem in Chicago, but per capita, we have twice as many homicides.
With the city reaching nearly a homicide a day, victims of violence have become the new normal.
It doesn't make it okay, and it doesn't make it rational, and it doesn't make it necessary.
And you're seeing an increase.
Oh my God, yes. It used to be something that happened. Now it happens all the time.
We're seeing just tons more gunshots and stabbings and assaults than anywhere else I've worked previously.
Any access on that?
To combat the crisis, Shock Trauma has increased staff on nights and weekends.
I can't breathe. I can't breathe.
I couldn't tell you how many I got last week or how many I got yesterday. I just know that it's super violent and the majority of our patients are violent crimes.
And it takes a toll.
It's exhausting. It's exhausting mentally, physically, emotionally.
We used to say, summer was our busy season, and then like winters it would drop off a little bit. This year it's been fairly steady, and then our busy season is phenomenal. It's unbelievable.
Push down on your feet. Push, push, push.
Where very few things are easing the crisis, the trauma center is, boasting a 96% save rate.
If there wasn't shock trauma, if there wasn't the same degree of organization of trauma care, what would the number be? I don't know, but it would be substantially higher. No question about that.
Let me get his arm.
On this night, it's one life saved.
He's awake, he's talking, he's moving, so those are all encouraging things.
One less number to add to the crisis.
Am I proud of us for doing that? Hell yes, I'm proud of us for doing that. Do I wish we didn't have to do it? Yeah. But as long as it happens, we're going to be here.
Even the moments of quiet won't last long, because this fight is far from over. On that June night at Shock Trauma, that man survived. But for more than 335 others, their families were left to grieve.
You gotta stop killing women, children, senior citizens, and innocent people.
You have the right to be mad.
A mother of 8, gunned down on her front porch.
How cruel can a person be to kill a mother in front of her children? So what do they have left? What do they have left? They have took children's mom from them. And you gonna go home and look in your mother's face? Really?
If you shy, I understand. If tears come out, let them flow.
A young father.
I loved him so very much. He was a fun, happy, loyal.
Taken by a bullet, leaving heartache behind.
Bright kid, you know, and he's gonna always be in my heart.
In the crowd,
I got fire.
His 3-year-old daughter.
Is that Daddy's candle?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
For his birthday.
For his birthday?
Some truths are hard to tell. Family after family.
We tired of fighting and losing our sons and daughters to senseless killing.
Left alone.
It's okay. It's okay.
When are you all going to stop fighting? When are you going to just stop killing our children?
Dorothy Scriber lost her son Lewis in 2010.
We tired of it, and I'm going to continue to fight and fight and fight until I can't fight no more.
Each new killing opens old wounds.
I'm tired. I'm tired. I just feel hurt, you know, all over.
Senselessness, hopelessness, families longing for just one more moment. The public grief is nothing compared to the private pain.
Any of us mothers that have lost their sons and daughters to, you know, the word murder.
Senseless.
Right.
Scriber helps comfort other moms who have lost children to Baltimore's violence.
None of our life will never be the same. Never be the same. You know, our life has been destroyed, and we just make the best of it.
A club no one wants to be a part of.
I don't do nothing like I used to. It's just like that burner fire just went away.
Sharon Atkins joined the club on January 27th.
He got shot.
Her son, Dante, the 29th murder of 2017.
I just didn't want to believe it. I told him, just go back there. He ain't dead. He not dead. Not Dante. He not dead. He just sleep. He ain't dead. Then I'm wondering, how I'm gonna bury my son?
It's been a year of unimaginable grief.
Birthday passed, my birthday passed, and I ain't get that phone call saying happy birthday, Ma.
A grief shared by too many.
This guy don't know what he did.
In one city.
I don't want no mom to feel the pain that I feel. They don't understand until they walk into my shoes. The hurt, the anger, the sadness, knowing that your child is not going to walk through that door again.
A hurt that was reopened November 15th.
One of my friends called me and they said, Detective Suter. I say, what? They like, yeah, Detective Suter. I say, oh, he was the lead detective on my son's case. That can't be real.
He is in very, very grave condition right now.
I'm really sorry to be here doing this yet again.
just after noon today, 18-year veteran homicide detective Sean Suter was pronounced dead. We will find the person responsible for this ridiculous, absurd, unnecessary loss of life.
Baltimore Police Detective Sean Suter, the city's 309th homicide.
We was really just walking around in our neighborhood, and then next thing you hear is 4 shots. It's ring off. Right? You get what I'm saying? Back to back to back to back.
We're not safe. The police not safe. What are we gonna do? What are the mayor and the governor gonna do?
Today, our hearts are broken.
In the middle of crisis, loss never gets easier.
Let's see, where was he?
This goodbye to a hero.
For the things, for the things, for the things he has done.
This year has been especially difficult for the Baltimore Police Department, on and off the streets.
The hardest part of my job is not solving my case. The hardest part of my job is going to the family, looking them in the face and saying that your son, your daughter, your mother, or your father have been murdered in Baltimore.
The first half of 2017, homicides hit a record pace. By June, the city reached 170 murders, a murder rate of 27 per 100,000 people, the second deadliest in the nation.
It saddens me to knowing that we're dealing with more than 300 murders a year for the last 3 years, and it don't look like it's stopping anytime soon.
A city averaging more than a murder a day from May to October, a city short on police and high on violent crime.
We are short, so you just have to work and work and work, and even though it's a lot, and I'll be sitting here lying to you that if I didn't say overwhelming at times.
After more than 3 decades with BPD, this year may be homicide detective Martin Young's last.
I think that, my time is coming. I think that 33 years is a lot, 30 years is a lot, 33 years. So I would imagine maybe another year. Could be less.
2017 has been trying. Detectives working some of the most difficult and memorable cases of their careers.
Jermaine Wilson, that was murdered. That sticks out.
She was one of 6 people killed on June 12th.
So I go inside of her house, 17, 13, and who do I see? The kids range from 1 year old to I think 20. The oldest one was 22. I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine seeing that and seeing your mother, pretty much die in front of you. I cannot imagine what they going through.
Just 2 weeks after the murder of Charmaine Wilson came a murder that rocked the entire city.
Thanks for coming out. We want to provide you guys with a few updates.
Baltimore Police Department's chief spokesman, TJ Smith, holds news conferences.
At this stage, all are non-fatal, 3 adult males. In Frederick, I believe.
Nearly every day.
At least 3 districts, and in the central district, not far away from here.
Condemning the violence that destroys lives.
It's an empty seat at the table for Christmas, just all of a sudden, over something stupid.
On July 5th, it was personal.
I absolutely hate being the news.
Hundreds of press conferences. None like this.
When I saw his name come across, Dione, as his given name, D-I-O-N-A-Y, I just knew.
The city's 173rd homicide. Smith's 24-year-old brother.
I called his cell phone immediately, and of course, there was no answer.
As summer faded to fall and winter crept in,
It was shocking. It was still shocking.
the reality of loss for Smith only grew.
It's been challenging, continue to be challenging.
For the first time,
I won't ever forget everything I was doing.
Smith is reliving that July day.
And got the alert that it was a shooting, and I saw the name. And I immediately contacted the district commander, and I said, I think that's my brother. But I was in denial. Like any other loved one, I think I was in denial. Like, nah, that's not gonna be my brother. No way.
Like the hundreds of other families in the city of Baltimore in 2017, Smith's grief had to wait.
Until you're in it, I don't know if you understand the day after something like this happens. I'm a person who's made death notifications to people before, and I've always thought when I leave the house, like, man, what do they do next? I mean, you just told them their loved one is gone and gone for forever. What do they do next?
Smith's grief would be public.
And that was the toughest press conference I ever gave in my life. That was tough. You know, but I also decided I wanted to be vulnerable. I wanted people to know I'm human. We're human, and we're going through the same human emotions as everyone else.
Just like everyone else, overwhelmed by the pain.
So I didn't really have an opportunity to digest it all until after the funeral and burial, which was 2 weeks later, before it was like able to, yeah. And that, the next day was the toughest day after that. And there's so many mothers and fathers and brothers and sisters that go through this stuff, and you shoulder it as best you can, but we shouldn't have to.
But in the days and months that followed,
again, this is from a colleague.
Smith found a beacon of hope.
Mr. T.J. Smith, I want to say I'm sorry for what happened to your brother.
Cards from people across the country.
I write to offer you our condolences on the loss of your brother. And this is from a prisoner in Jessup. I mean, if this type of stuff doesn't teach you how to treat everybody like a human being, nothing will.
Through tragedy, Smith found a new love for the city that brought him so much pain.
As hard as it is, as many times I want to quit, and I say it on the record, I've wanted to quit a number of times. The love from the citizens of this city, the hope from the citizens of the city, that's what keeps me going.
And as a victim of violence, he has a message for any other officers who may have thought about leaving.
I see how they bust their butts to solve these murders, and I haven't been able to properly thank them yet. And because I just don't have it in me to say thank you.
Faced with crime, violence, and destruction daily, sometimes the darkness is overwhelming.
We're in a moment, and we all recognize that, but it's a passion that exists in this city right now.
Throughout the year, we've seen that community rally.
I don't want to have to keep doing these walks because I want us to stop allowing people in this city to die.
We need our men. We need our children. Stop the violence. Let's save lives.
In the midst of darkness, the city's seen a flicker of light.
I'm encouraged that Baltimore will overcome this.
When you're in a tough moment, it's hard until you get out of that tough moment and you look back on it. And you can look back on it and you can be proud of yourself.
It's the search for light that keeps the city moving.
I'm gonna let it shine.
After the shock.
I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
After 3 years of more than 300 homicides, in 2018, this city is hoping for change. In Baltimore, I'm Joy Lambert. Thank you for watching Aftershock, a Fox 45 news special.